Hello and welcome to Truth in Real Estate, where we help you understand the truth about residential real estate so you can make smart decisions about buying or selling your home and investing in real estate. This is Kevin Cahill.
And this is Lisa Cahill. Hi, today in Truth in Real Estate, we're going to talk a little bit about the last minute improvements that you may or may not need to do before you decide to put your home on the market. You've decided to put your home on the market, and now what do you need to do, if anything at all?
We get these questions all the time. People want us to come over and take a look at their home, give them any suggestions that we might have in terms of preparing their home to look its best, be most attractive in the marketplace. And we have determined over so many years and looking at thousands of homes that there are certain improvements that make a lot of sense with 1 foot out the door, and a number of improvements really don't make any sense to do when you are looking to maximize your proceeds from the home sale.
That's correct. We've had people ask us things like, do I need to scrape the popcorn off of my ceiling? Do I need to do a new kitchen in my house? And the answer is typically no on those two items.
Overwhelmingly, when people want to put their home on the market, they're really thinking, what can I do that will make a massive difference in my net proceeds once I do find a buyer? And our experience has been that most of those really large expenses won't deliver the type of return on investment that will make it worthwhile to that home seller who has 1 foot out the door.
And we have some examples of real life customers, home sellers that we've recently helped, and the situations that they were in and the outcomes that they had that we can share with you if you hang on and watch the entire episode.
And listen to our podcast. So what I'd like to start with is what everybody must do eventually, regardless, and that is that they need to clean out their house, and they're going to thin out and get rid of stuff eventually anyways. You may as well do that at the early stages of preparing to get your home on the market.
That's exactly right. You're going to be packing anyway, so why not go ahead and start packing and thin out? And people are okay with boxes in the garage. People know that you're moving. That's not going to be a problem when you're showing the house.
It's interesting how often people will have their home on the market with the old Encyclopedia Britannica still in the study, and they'll have the old television in the den, the television that's not thin and flat, but more like a square box of a television.
They're not moving that.
They're not going to take that with them.
Taking it.
So they may as well get rid of those things that they don't intend to take with them anyway. And then, the Encyclopedia Britannica and the large square, big, huge, hulking box of a television, those might have zero value. And so you're not going to actually sell those. You're probably just going to get rid of those outright. The Encyclopedia Britannica, maybe there's a market for that. Maybe you just donate that to your favorite local charity. You might have clothing or plateware or things that you're planning on donating. Go ahead and start doing all of that right now when you're thinking about getting your home on the market, because those things don't add anything to your home sale effort.
No, and the less you have in your closets, the more spacious they look.
Yes.
So anything that you can go ahead and donate or pack up is better for you in the long run. Effort. And I also want to mention, we say clean and thin out. We've had people that we've helped sell their homes, and things like changing the air conditioner filter. We've seen them where they've been just filthy dirty, haven't been changed in a long while, go ahead and change those. Then it doesn't look like something that's been with deferred maintenance. You want to be careful that it doesn't appear that you've deferred any maintenance, because that sort of scares people in a way.
When we go into a property with buyers, and of course whenever we're working with a seller, we'll make this suggestion. We always look at a property through the eyes of a prospective buyer. And if we're working with a buyer and we walk into a property and we look at the air conditioning system, we look at the heater, we look at the electrical panel, if those things are going to be a major concern to our client, the buyer, well, then that's definitely something that you should be addressing. And yes, when you see cat fur covering the entirety of the air filter in the air conditioning system, then it's long overdue that you get that filter swapped out.
Just gives an impression of the house. And we were helping a gentleman sell a house, and there was like some dark staining on the air conditioner vent, and we asked him, will that come off? And he got up there and wiped it off, and it looked so much better.
It was just condensation.
All it was, but it would give a bad impression of the property. Not that we're trying to hide anything, but you just want it to be as clean as you can and looking its best.
Cleaning in the bathrooms, cleaning in the kitchen, cleaning out the cupboards, doing your very best to make the home look its best without necessarily having to redo the whole kitchen.
Exactly. It's not necessary to spend a lot of money redoing things, because honestly, we've found in the most part that it doesn't pay you to do that. We just recently had a home that we helped people sell, and they were going to go in there, and there was an old bathroom, and they were going to regrout it, which would have taken them days, which would have kept the house off the market for extra days. And when a market is going so well, like we've had recently, you want to get it out there and go ahead and get it sold in a high market. You don't want to delay. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Well, let's tell a little bit more of that story, because these were people who had owned a property here in the Clearwater area, and they lived in Alabama, and so they were down after their tenants moved out, and they were wondering, should we redo the kitchen? Should we redo the flooring? Should we go in and redo the bathrooms? Mm-hmm. Well, here's the number one issue I have as a real estate agent who has seen thousands of home sale transactions. The moment you update one part of a home is the moment that everything else looks really terrible by comparison.
Yes.
So if you've redone the kitchen, but the flooring looks terrible, people are going to be like, wow, why did they redo the kitchen and not do the flooring? Then they walk back into the bathrooms and say, oh goodness, they didn't do either of the bathrooms. So imagine
they start comparing it.
They start looking at the work that is still required. And then they say, gosh, I wish they didn't put in these white kitchen cabinets. I would have liked the gray kitchen cabinets. I wish they didn't put in the gray kitchen cabinets. I would have preferred the wood kitchen cabinets. I wish they hadn't put in the Corian countertop. I would have loved to have had the granite. I wish they didn't put in the gray granite. I would have liked the tan granite.
Exactly.
Pretty quickly, you get into a rabbit hole of all the things that you haven't yet done, or you haven't correctly, I don't know if you forgot to grab out your crystal ball, but you didn't guess the right color scheme that your ideal buyer would have preferred you to have done.
Absolutely.
It gets to be, by comparison, while the kitchen looks great, the rest of the house looks like garbage. I'm going to have to undo the kitchen to get it my way and redo the kitchen that they just paid to redo, because I'm going to want to do the flooring, and then I'm going to want the cabinets in the bathrooms to match the cabinets in the kitchen, and I don't like their kitchen cabinets as it is. I wish they hadn't done anything.
And when we did the comparables, when we were getting ready to price the property, we did it both ways. If you looked at a property that was renovated very well, it didn't really bring enough more than
So,
a property that needed everything
Let's
to
be very
justify
specific. Very
the extra
specifically
cost.
on that home, a home that was that size for these Alabama sellers of their Clearwater property, a home that was that size on that size lot with that number of bedrooms, that number of bathrooms, with a 2-car garage, with no swimming pool, the top of the market would have been approximately $389. That's with brand new kitchen, 2 brand new bathrooms, brand new flooring throughout, freshly painted inside and out, gorgeous landscaping, newer air conditioning system, newer electrical panel, newer roof,
appliances.
new kitchen appliances. Everything about the home, brand spanking new, would have been about a $389 home. We sold that home very quickly in multiple offers for about $353. So the reality of it is, there's no way they could have renovated that house. Nobody could renovate that house to the top of the market condition for $36,000.
No, and there's a risk involved in that too. Putting more money in a house, you're putting more money at risk.
You're outlaying
you
the
may
cash. You're taking that cash in and putting it into a property. You might have, let's say, for example, the people from Alabama had chosen to renovate. They might have easily put in $50,000 or $60,000 or $70,000 in order to have netted $36,000 more.
That's right.
Terribly risky.
It's risky, and we just don't advise it.
Now, let's talk about some of the more typical questions that people ask us about, what should we do to get our home ready for the market?
We had another client that it was a couple of sisters, and they had inherited a property.
Oh, these were the Tennessee sisters.
Yeah,
Very
and
sweet people.
They had consulted with some real estate agents, and they weren't real happy with what the agents were telling them they needed to do. I don't think they had a lot of money, and I think they just wanted to get the property sold. And we happened to know the people that were helping them clean it out, which that's great. The house needed everything. It had a 1950s dishwasher, and it had stacks and stacks of books and magazines in it. It had lots of repair work that needed to be done and a lot of clean out. So
it was actually the perfect opportunity for somebody who would like to buy it and completely renovate it to their taste.
That's what it was. What it was a house that had good bones on a good lot with a good view, and it needed everything. It was for someone to do everything they wanted to do and have their dream house. That's what it was. So the people that helped them clean it out, they referred us to the ladies to talk to them about selling it. So they were telling us all the suggestions
and other
and all the
agents.
advice they were getting. And one stood out to me. And this other real estate agent had told them that they needed to landscape that yard.
New sod everywhere.
New sod and trees and
Now,
landscaping.
these women were visiting from Tennessee for the week.
Just the week.
Just to meet with real estate agents and get that property on the market. Then they were heading back up to Tennessee.
So they said, what do you think about that? And they were having pause about it. They didn't want to do it, and they were asking us, well, should we do this? And I said, who's going to water this once you do all this new landscaping? And they burst out laughing because it was just hilarious to think that they were going to put all this landscaping and pay all this money, and then there's nobody there to water it.
And it was completely unnecessary.
Oh, absolutely. So they listed with us, of course. And
we got that home sold very quickly for multiple offers. It went way over what they were expecting it might sell because of all the advice that they had received from other real estate agents. We had priced it strategically so that we would cultivate multiple offers for them.
Oh, they were very happy, and they were sitting in the catbird seat. They were able to dictate the time that it would close and all of it.
They were able to deal with the precise buyer who was the strongest buyer, and it worked out incredibly well.
Out really well.
Now, here's one last thought that I would like to share, is if your property is overall in good repair, then let it be. You don't need to go and fix things that aren't really damaged. If your kitchen is in decent condition but it's dated, you do not need to go in there and redo the kitchen. Somebody else might choose to buy it and deal with the kitchen as is, or they might choose to renovate it to their particular tastes, but you don't need to risk the cost of a kitchen renovation that the market may not give you that money back. Now, the other thought too as well is in terms of getting the exterior, what is called curb appeal to its greatest, really it might really just require that you clean up the yard, get everything looking its best, get rid of all the cobwebs, clean out the gutters, do the typical maintenance, but you don't need to repaint the whole house,
No.
throw in all sorts of new sod, new landscaping, new trees, new plants. The market overwhelmingly is not looking for that. That might just look like you're trying too hard, and then all of a sudden they're going to question, okay, all of this looks really updated, but they've got a 15-year-old air conditioning system. Have they really maintained the house? It might look too much that you're putting lipstick on a pig.
Exactly.
That you're putting a Band-Aid with one foot out the door. Popcorn, why in the world would you ever go through the headache and hassle and mess of scraping popcorn off the ceiling when you're about to move out of the place anyway?
We don't advise it. Some people aren't bothered by the popcorn. We've had it done a few times just because sometimes we gut a place.
When we see the opportunity, like, look, the unit is empty, we can get everything done before we bring in any furniture. May as well just have the ceiling scraped of the popcorn. But that's $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000.
Yes,
to in essence change the ceiling, which
people don't
there's
care
a
about
very
that.
small market that says, oh, I'm glad that they spent $5,000 on that ceiling. I'm going to be sure to give them $7,000 for their effort. Now, tell the little story about our clients who liked to over-improve a property and what risk they faced.
Well, that's the next episode, really, that we're going to talk about that. So be sure to listen to the next episode where we talk about the danger of over-improving a property.
In the meantime, we'd welcome you to visit REALean.com, where you can learn more about working with us, working with our local real estate agents, so that you can sell your home quickly for top dollar while paying much more reasonable fees. When we work with home sellers, rather than charging the typical 6% or more, we provide concierge level full service while only charging 4%. 3% if we're the only agent involved in the sale. So visit REALean.com so that you can learn more.
You've been listening to Truth in Real Estate with Kevin Cahill.
And Lisa Cahill.
Whether you're thinking of making a move, or if you're interested in real estate as an investment, or if you're a real estate professional looking to enhance your skill set, we're here to help you make the very best decisions possible regarding residential real estate. Visit us at REALean.com to learn more about our company and to access our resources.
Please be sure to subscribe to our podcast and share with your friends. Goodbye for now.